Hey everyone, how's everyone doing today? Welcome to my photography editing live stream where you can submit your photos before the stream starts, and I edit them here for you live using DxO Photolab 9. I'm on 9.6, build 631 right now, which is the latest version, and it has some nice updates. It now has the D Prime XD3, which I didn't expect. I expected them to wait until version 10 comes out to put that in, but they put it in 9.6, which is awesome. They also added the new DNG compression, which basically crushes the size down to like 20% or 30% of what it normally is, with very little, if any, loss in image quality. So I'm really excited about that as well. And there's a few other things there that I'll get into. I'll probably make a video about it here soon because it is a pretty significant update. Also had some feathering to the AI tools. But enough about that. I am an affiliate for DxO, so if you'd like to try it out, I have an affiliate link down below along with a exclusive 15% discount code, which is just RobTrex. So if you use my affiliate link and then apply the code, uh, you'll save 15%. And DxO's a one-time purchase. So once you buy it, you own the license for life. And they do provide updates for 2 years within that window, meaning updates to the DxO module and any other things like they did in 9.6. So you'll always be on version 9, whenever you if you were to buy it today. So like if version 10 comes out, that would actually be a paid upgrade. But as long as you're within version 9, they update for 2 years the optics module and other things. Because that was a question I got about the things. So that said, I'm gonna have to be a little bit quick today. I have a lot on my plate. I actually have a photo job I have to get to, so I have to do a hard stop at 11. So a little less than 2 hours to edit about 16 or 17 photos. So I'm gonna sort of speed edit today a little bit. I'm not gonna have a chance to kind of walk you through my thought process. I'll do a little bit of that on the first one, but then from there, I'm just going to edit them as quickly as I can, unfortunately, because I do have to run today. But if you do have any questions, you can leave them in the chat section, and I'll do my best to get to them. But I can't promise today because I do have I have a photo job I have to get to. I got to warm up my fingers first. It's starting to warm up. It's springtime. So we're gonna actually hit 70 degrees today, but right now it's like 40, and my fingers are cold. Anyhow, all that said, let's go into. Let me pull up the screen, and and then just quick disclaimer: this is not a critique or judging anybody's photos or photography. It's simply to demonstrate the tools for DxO and to help you edit your photos and see the workflow that I do. And hopefully it'll help you with your editing. Okay, so the first one here, okay, we have a little park here with some picnic tables. And this is a JPEG, so I'm going to be a little bit limited to how much pushing and pulling I need to do. But first thing I always do is look at the overall composition. If I need to straighten any horizons, I look at white balance and I look at exposure, sort of global changes. I like to do all the global changes before I start doing any local adjustments. And composition wise, right away, we can kind of see a leading line here. We see nice patches of light here and there, and then all these wonderful daisies. And then the two picnic tables, and then that looks like maybe a trash can down here or some kind of fire pit. And then maybe a little trail back here. Maybe not. So the exposure is good. The horizon's straight, and let's see, white balance is fine because this is an outdoor shot. So it's overall, it's well exposed. what I need to do is I generally like to create some depth to an image by breaking it into three parts: foreground, midground, background, whether that's through actual objects and things in the photo or by lighting. So dark areas, bright areas. And I don't see any hot spots in this image except maybe right up in here. So I feel like this side, if I were to cut this image in half, maybe, because we basically have a mirror image of this table and tree. So I don't see really a need to keep both. So I'm gonna think, I like this side because we have three objects, right? Table, tree, and whatever that is, a fire pit. So let me just kind of give some thought to this, maybe a little bit tighter crop. Let's try 5x4. I like this little milkweed or whatever it is here in the corner too. But I can't get a good balance between this and the table. Let me see. You know, a good strong foreground is always nice for creating depth. Uh-oh, my mouse is stuck. Hold on. It does this time to time when my hard drives need to spin up. There we go. Let's try, how about this side? What if we limit it to this? No, I don't like that tree being right in the center. I don't think I'm going to be able to incorporate that little flower there. So let's just come in tight and just work with this. Now I'm going to try and balance the scene a little bit. Okay, I think that works. Now I can go into some local adjustments, and I'm just going to just exaggerate some of the lighting here using a little bit tighter Luma mask and just bump that up a bit. And then we'll create another one and just darken the darker areas. So again, a little bit tighter Luma. And then I think the top can be darker too. Let me create a new mask. And I'm going to drop the eyedropper onto sort of the brighter parts. Maybe about there is good. I'm going to loosen up the Luma in this case just a little bit. And we'll just bring that down. And let's pull in the blacks. Maybe a little bit of clear view. Okay, and then I'm going to, let's just brighten it up overall and add a little warmth. And I think I'm going to try and just brighten this tree a little bit. So I'm going to use the AI tool. So create a new mask, select the AI tool, and I'm just going to use the mouse to point at it. And let's just brighten that up. About like that. And then I'm going to see if I can just saturate the yellows a little bit for the daisies. So I'm going to go in here, take the eyedropper. Let's select that yellow. Let's saturate it a little bit. And then I'm going to go back to my original highlights that I created here and just temper it. And maybe add some micro contrast. And some clear view. Okay. Then the last thing I'm going to do is let's go back to the light panel, and I'm going to soften the image up overall just to make it a little more surreal. So I'm just going to put negative on the micro contrast. And let's push this a little bit. Okay. So let's go ahead and compare these side by side. And I'm going to compare it against the original uncropped. All right, so part of this was just simplifying the scene a little bit and removing some redundancy. That's, it's a very common composition is to try and pair things up or, group things together. But in this case, they don't really complement, they don't really, this left side, two picnic tables, one picnic table doesn't add anything to the other, in my opinion. So that's all I wanted to do. And then I may have overdone it a little bit on the tree, but that's kind of the general idea that I was going for. So awesome, Cynthia. Thank you so much for sending that. Let's go to the next one. And I'm going to hit the F9 key to bring the panels in. And we have a little water boat here. River boat, I guess is what it's called. I like this, this rope texture here. And there's a little bit of framing, but there's a lot of distortion here. It's kind of like you're pointing your camera down a little bit. So let me apply basic preset, which is noise reduction and optical corrections, right? So we get the best quality out of this image from a technical standpoint. Oh, there's a little chair here. I like this. I like this corner right here. So, but there is some, I don't know if this bridge is warped like this on, by design, or if this is a perspective distortion, because we have pretty straight lines here. I'm going to go over here and just click on perspective and see what happens. Let me go into the crop. And let's rotate this back. Yeah, I can't figure out the geometry here. Let me do this. I'm just going to roll this until it just feels right. So I'm going to use this line right here in the door and try and make that straight. And then just whatever, just let fall wherever all the other lines fall. Okay, now in terms of composition, I think a vertical here would be good too. And we'll try 5x4. We'll start over here. Of course, I don't want to lose that chair. I like this chair. It's a nice accent. You know, this little red and this chair. Let's try. Let's try that. I need a little bit more headroom though. I'm just watching this corner here for that bridge. Okay, I'm going to just back this off a little bit. All right, I think that's the composition I'll go for. And I'm going to use the AI tool to select the water. And you'll notice it kind of made a hard stop along this beam. Let's see if I can just shift and try and add. I can't get in there. I'll just use a brush. So I'm going to add a submask and just brush in. Let me turn my flow up. Just going to brush it in. Doesn't have to be 100%. Okay, good. And I'm going to add some clear view. Pull in the blacks a bit. Maybe push those greens and yellows up. And then cool it off a little bit. Okay. Now let's select the boat like that, and I'm going to crank up the vibrancy on this. Let's give it some clear view as well. Definitely some micro contrast. Okay. Now we have the light back here. Whoops. The light back here is pretty strong, but I want the front to be more dominant. So I'm going to try just a linear gradient. No, let's try a control line. And we'll select the brighter parts. Let's back off the luma just a little. See if I can temper that a bit. Yeah, that's better. Throw in a little micro contrast. Because sometimes when you pull highlights in, you lose contrast. So I like to put a little bit back in with micro contrast. Okay, and then I'm going to touch up some of the accent pieces. I don't know if an AI tool might be better for this. Let me see. This one and this one. Let's just crank up the vibrancy there. A little saturation. Oops, there's one more here. And I can... Okay, good. And let's just add some highlights to that. Okay. All right, let me darken this sidewalk a little bit. So I'm going to create a new mask. Just point to it here. Okay. All right, and then let me go back here to color. Let me try couple of different color profiles. I guess natural was the best. Okay. All right, now let me add a little bit of depth to the woodland and grass and stuff. So I'm just going to use some control points. And we're going to come in here and just pull on the blacks. Maybe not that much. Here and here. A little bit there. A little bit there. Some in there. Okay, then the last thing is I might add a little more texture to the bridge. So let me go back to my AI tool. And let's add some more texture in here with micro contrast and clear view and maybe a little vibrancy. Saturation this way. All right, very good. So we'll call it there. I'm going to export this. Go back to the original folder. We're on 631. No resizing, sRGB. Okay. And we can watch the fraud. The first one always takes a little bit extra. But after I do the first sort of export, the rest of them go pretty fast. I don't know why. I don't know why the first one always takes twice as long as it normally does. Okay, let's reset this and compare. All right, so yeah, a little tighter crop so that the boat here is a little bigger in the frame. I wanted to keep this yellow chair because it sort of gives context of what's going on in the back here. You know, for someone like me that has no idea what's going on, it looks like somebody's selling things out here in the back of this boat. So that helps. And then of course, just pumping up the colors and making everything look, you know, just giving everything a little bit more pop. And then just bringing in the colors on this stonework, adding some depth to the forest back here. And that's it. All right, very good. Thank you, John. All right, so we have a JPEG image here. So again, I'll be a little bit limited. But whenever I do, well, let me just start out. I can see we need to straighten the horizon a little bit. So I'm going to apply just a basic preset first. And let's go to the horizon and straighten that just a bit. I'm just going to eyeball it. Okay. And there's really nice light on the pigeon, so I'm going to try and exaggerate that a little bit. And we need just a little bit more tilt. Okay, good. And then just add some vibrancy to the colors, I think. So maybe a control line for this luminance here, this brightness. I'm just going to add a little bit extra. Now with JPEGs, I can't individually adjust white balance. So I'm going to have to do more of a global change. This is something I really wish they could update somehow. Whenever I work with RGB images like JPEGs and TIFFs, I don't have direct access to white balance in the local panel. And then I'm going to select the bird next with the AI tool, and I'm going to add about a half a stop here. And then I'm going to go to the global exposure change and just subtract a half a stop, maybe a little more. Wow, quite a bit. I think I can go quite a bit. Well, let's not go that much. Let's go about one stop. I'll go back to the local. We'll just add a little bit more back in because I like the animal or subject to be a little brighter than the rest of the scene in general. Okay, and then I didn't adjust the composition exactly, but let me tighten this just a little bit. I don't know if I need that whole circle, but I do like it. What if I come all the way over? So I'm looking at my corner here. Normally I like to put the bird inside of the rule of thirds, but I think because the bird is pretty much filling the frame, I can kind of ignore that sort of go-to composition that I normally do. I need just a little bit back. Okay, let's brighten up the eyes. I need to go a little bit smaller on this side. And then we'll add some clear view to make them a little punchy and some micro contrast. Probably do the same thing with the beak. I can use the same control point. No, I can't. I need to use a different one. Let's come down here to the darker area. Some clear view and micro contrast. And let's go back to the bird mask here, and just going to increase the vibrancy on the bird. And I'm going to add a vignette. So if you don't have Film Pack installed, an easy way to add a vignette is use a control point, turn your chroma and luma to 0, then invert it. And then I like to use the selective tones to bring the vignette in. So it looks a little more natural, right, than just using the exposure slider. Because vignettes typically want to be subtle, but there, okay. And just to give you an idea, that's without the vignette, and that's with it. But it still looks natural, I think. Okay, let's warm up this image a little bit. So I'm going to go back here. Just a tad. Maybe, yeah, just a tad. Let's try vibrant. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, and then on a global basis, I think just a touch of clear view and a little bit of a push. Oh, maybe not that much. Just very subtle. Okay, and I'm just gonna add a little bit of sharpening, maybe a touch of denoise. Let's go back here. Just add a touch of denoise. Then the unsharp mask, let's just bring that in a bit. Okay. Let's export that. Well, this is a JPEG, so I don't need to export it. Since I didn't apply any AI denoising like XD3, I really don't have to export this to see the final result. All right, so yeah, much tighter crop and a little more punch and contrast to it. And I think if we just do a slider view, this might be the most obvious way to. But look at the eyes. You know, when I look at it like this, it looks like it's too bright, but I kind of like it like this. And I think that works. Going back to a side-by-side. And I think the tighter crop also helps. Okay, let's go to the next one. Wow, another JPEG. All right. So let's this looks like to me it's been already pre-processed a bit. Because typically the you know, the blacks and the whites, the dynamic range of this scene has already been compressed, it looks like a little bit. I don't know if that was done in camera or post-process, but it's been processed somewhat either by the camera or by Abhinav here. If not, that's a really, really good exposure. You really nailed it on the exposure if there was no processing at all. But the only thing I would change here is maybe just let's just apply basic preset again. And it didn't do much there. But what I might do is let's go up into the sky and water and just add a little bit of clear view and micro contrast. And then I'm going to do another control line just to emphasize some of the highlights. Make this a little bit tighter. Just some of the highlights in here. So I'm going to move the eyedropper to one of the brighter areas in the highlights. I thought between his legs. No, I think the railing is the best. I'm going to tighten up the luma. And then let's just push these as much as I can. Again, it's a JPEG, so I'm very limited to what I can do here. And let me see if I can just add a little vibrancy. Okay, let me do a quick comparison here. One more thing. Okay. So, basically all I did was add a little pop. Oh, so it's straight out of camera. You did a really good job, Cuber, with the exposure on this one. You nailed it. That is pretty amazing. And it's a great composition, and yeah, it's beautiful picture straight out of camera. So all I've really done is added some contrast, right, to your image. If I had the raw image, I don't know if I would do things too much differently. I would have been able to do a little bit more work on the bridge here and bring out more of the texture and the shadows. But other than that, I think that's pretty close to, even if I had the raw, I would probably end up with the same edit. All right, very good. Let's go to the next one. And a couple of eagles with a mountain backdrop. So I think let's apply basic preset. Whoops, that's I need to get rid of it. I was tutoring someone and I showed them how to save a new preset. Okay, so yeah, first up, I think we can definitely go wide here. Let's try 16 by 7. And we'll put the eagles in the bottom third. I think that composition works. And then let's try and, I'm just going to go with the low-hanging fruit here and start with the sky. Let's tighten up the luma just a bit. Maybe not. Bring the highlights in a bit. Definitely some clear view and micro contrast just to add some drama. Let's see. Something like that. I don't know about the white balance though. Go a little bit cooler. Okay, and then the foreground I want to do a little bit too. We'll come up to about here. And we'll select kind of the darker areas, a little tighter on the luma. And let's just add a little warmth up in the front. And then some vibrancy. And a little saturation. Okay. That's too much. About there. Okay, and then let's go to the eagles. I may crop in a little tighter. Let me see. Let me just look at this composition real quick. Maybe about there. And center. Yeah, that's about right. Okay. And I'm going to use the AI tool. Let's select this eagle. Work on him first. Can probably use the same mask. I'm just going to shift. No, that's too much for that one. So let's make a new mask and do a separate one for this guy. Go back to this one. He needs a little vibrancy. Okay. I wonder, I'm not totally happy with this composition, but though, what if I did this? Nope. I think it needs to be a horizontal just because they're both looking to the right. I just maybe need to come in a little tighter. Okay. Let's see if I can get the beak and the eyes to come out a little bit more. So we'll go over here to the yellows and oranges. And do the same thing over here. Hold on. Yeah, there we go. Just took a little bit. Okay, all right, let me check the fine detail. And let's go to the detail panel. Let's try a little unsharp mask. Just give that a little bump. There we go. Perfect. Okay, I'm going to export that. And we'll do a side by side. Okay, so here's the original on the right, and that's my edit here on the left. Yeah, I think we just have way too much sky, but that's, that's because of the field of view that you have. But I think cropping in really makes a big difference here, because now you can actually see the eagles. So if we zoom in, here's my edit. Let's just make that full screen. I think that came up pretty good. Just a tiny bit of haloing over here on this eagle that I could fix pretty easily, but compared to the original, it's a little bit backlit, right? Obviously. So that's why I had to brighten up the eagles in the foreground. And I think, yeah, this came out really nice. Okay, very good. Thank you, John. Let's go to the next one. I have a JPEG here of some kind of gorilla. A black gorilla. So the question is, I can't make the background darker than the subject, right? I really can't make the subject brighter than the background, right? Because it's a black gorilla. So all I'm going to do, I think, here is just crop in a little tighter and brighten the eyes up. And I think that's all we need to do. So let me just apply basic preset. And we'll just crop in just simple rule of thirds. Nothing fancy. Maybe cut off the left side a little bit. I think that works pretty well. And we'll just go in here. Whoops. I'm just going to brighten the eyes a bit. Oh, that's a giant control point. Where's the edges? Hold on. Reset this. Why is my control point? Let me try this one more time. This image has already been processed quite a bit, actually. That's the problem. I'm having a little trouble with my control point for some reason. Let me go back over here. My control point is out of frame. That's the problem. Okay, now I can go back here. There we go. Because this is cropped in to less than 1 megapixel already. But I'll do what I can here. And let me recrop this down. Something like that. Try and brighten those eyes a bit. Okay. And then let's just add a quick vignette. So new mask. Invert this. All right, I'm almost there.
Someone is at front door.
Export. Oh, hold on. I'm sorry, guys. There's somebody at my door. I'll be right back. Sorry about that. Okay, so I think this is all I can do. This image has already kind of been processed. So I just cropped in a little tighter and oops, I'm sorry. It's already been processed quite a bit and cropped in, or I don't know if it's been processed, but uh, I think the main thing is really just cropping in on this image and seeing more of the details and brightening up the eyes on the subject. And that's it. Now, if I had the raw image, I'd probably add a little bit of warmth in here. And then that'd be about it. Just a little bit more warmth here and maybe on some of the highlights. But neat shot though. I've never seen one of these myself in real life. Ooh, okay. Again, I am kind of rushing today a little bit because I have to go to a photo job later. All right. Let's see. Let's apply a basic preset first. And we just need to crop in here. Sorry. Maybe straighten the horizon a bit. Just come in this way. Okay. Let's go to the local adjustments tool. See if we can select the water and hit that with some clear view and just darken it a bit. Okay, the image needs to be a little bit warmer overall. There we go. And let's brighten up this area in here, particularly the eye and around the eye. I'm going to add a little bit of light to his catch. And then I'm going to try and accentuate the speculars here in the water. I'll just do that with some control points. So we'll do that, a little bit down in here in the darker area. And let's tighten up the luma. Make sure I'm right on the highlights. Okay. Okay, and then let's just add a vignette. About there. Okay, and then maybe temper the highlight just a little bit in here. And I'm going, let me do a little more. Oops, that's too much. Right about there. I'm going to select the bird. Just add a little bit. Looks like a seagull of some kind. Maybe a little bit more warmth. Right about there. Okay, I'm gonna, oh, let me check the fine detail real quick. Um, okay. I think that's good. Golly, whenever I live stream, I keep getting interrupted. I'll be right back. I'm sorry. Oh, it's a delivery. All right. That can wait. That can wait. Okay, let's reset this. Oops. Let's reset this one. Okay, so yeah, just basically a tight crop and highlighting the speculars. It's a little bit green over here. I would go back and adjust the white balance a little bit more. There's a very mild green tint here that I don't like. But other than that, I think this is a pretty decent edit. We can do a split view. Side by side is probably better. We can kind of just zoom in on the details. And I think it cleaned up quite nicely. Got some feather detail in there. Yep. The speculars look good. See how the speculars separated more in my edit versus, you know, the original. And I tend to overprocess a little bit when I'm doing these online, just so you can kind of see what the tool is doing. But okay. Oh, I see Walter's here. Hey, Walter, how are you? Okay, let's go to the next one. And how many more do I have? I have quite a few. All right. Let's apply basic preset. Looks like a couple of ponies or something down here. Do need to straighten the horizon a bit. I think I'll just use the line tool. Just do that real quick. And I'm going to hit the water first with the AI tool. Wow, water's really cool. I mean, temperature-wise. Okay, we'll leave. I'm going to come back to the water. And this is a little bit out of focus down here because of depth of field. Let me make a new mask. Let's use a control line. And just make this a little more dramatic. Okay, and then this mountain. I'm going to tighten up the luma. And I'm just going to exaggerate the lighting coming from the sky. Maybe something like this. So very, very tight luminosity mask. And let's just start here. Some clear view, micro contrast, and a little bit of warmth. Okay, that's good. And then I'm going to kind of need to do the same thing on these ponies. Maybe I'll just do that with a little brush. So I'm using a masking brush. I may switch back to a regular brush. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, I think a regular brush would be better. I just want just a little kiss of light in here. I don't think I can get it in there. Okay, that'll work. I'm going to subtract a little bit from there. Okay, good. So I'm getting a little haloing. All right. Then let's try the speculars here. Some micro contrast and a little bit of warmth. Like that. All right. Okay, one more thing. Let's work on these clouds a little bit. I'm going to go back to the mountain. Maybe I've overdone it just a tiny bit here. Just back it off a little. Okay, the water is still way, way cooler than the rest of the scene. So I'm just going to add a little bit of warmth there. I think just a touch. Let me do something here. Control point. Make that tight. Add a little warmth here. Okay, and that mountain, why did that mountain get so bright? Hold on. I'll just pull the opacity back a bit. Whoops, whoops. I grabbed the wrong one. This is the one I want. Yeah, it's not. Okay. The original. Okay, still water. Do that. This mountain is driving me nuts here. Hold on. Let me try. Let me try this. And then a regular brush. Let's flow this down. Hmm. My problem is the mountain looks like it's just cut and paste in there. So it's water that's causing the problem. So I think I'm just, oh man. Okay, I have to call it there. I really have to spend some time on this one. Because even the original, it looks like this mountain's cut and paste in there. I mean, I know it's not, but I just can't get a natural looking flow of light. But I'm gonna have to call it there. So I have a lot more to get to before I have to go. So let me export this one. All right, so yeah, if I had some more time, I would spend more time on this normally, but I have to go through these pretty quickly. But yeah, it's just the way this mountain, the lighting is so different. It looks like it would just cut and paste into the scene. And it's hard to get the lighting right. I really wanted to make this area much darker. So what I'm thinking my approach would be later is to really darken this side up. So what I might do is when I get back from my photo job, I'll come and work on this one a little more. I'm not quite happy with where this has landed. And I'll show you guys next week what I did with this one. So I'm just gonna put little 2 stars there to it. Okay. All right, so here's one from Tom. It's a very similar image to last week, same pond it looks like. So let's apply a basic preset and just come in really tight here. Let's select the water. Okay. And well, a better way would be, let me select the duck. I'll just do that. Just add a little, about a half a stop. Come back here. Come back a half a stop. Maybe not that much. Do about a third. Let's go back to this duck. Just bring the highlights in a bit. Little micro contrast. Let's hit the eye just a little bit. And then back to the duck. Let's just push the vibrancy a tad. And then we'll add a vignette. Okay, well, check the fine details. Let's go back here. Just a little extra there. Okay. Export that. Then reset and compare. Okay, so pretty straightforward edit. Maybe not make the background so dark in the water, because it looks like another cut and paste job a little bit. But other than that, I think you kind of get the idea, right? Just make the subject stand out more by giving a little brightness. And it needs a little warmth too. Let me just fix it real quick. A little bit of warmth overall. A little less greens. I'm gonna go back and let's make the water not quite so dark. Let's back off some of this. Okay, so that's oops, hold on. Overwrite that. Okay. All right, that's better. Okay, so that's my edit. I think that looks a lot better. I made the water too dark and it just needed a little warmth. All right, let's go to the next one. And whew, man, this one's way out, isn't it? I'll go ahead and straighten the horizon. And just come in here and just get the reflection. Maybe do a vertical. Like this. Right in here. And then let's do a rectangle tool. Select the birds, just add a half a stop here. Pull the highlights a little bit. And a touch of warmth. Okay, let me check the fine details. Okay, a little bit clipped here, so let's come in and just pull the highlights in a bit. And I think the eyes might be red is what I'm getting. It's hard to tell because it's so far away. But I'm going to try and just push the reds a bit. Okay. We'll just come in tighter. And I'm going to make the foreground even darker. Maybe just do a luminosity, just an exposure pull. Okay. Need a little more warmth. And the highlights, just a little more pull. We'll check again the fine detail here. Okay. Let's export that. Okay, so here's the original. So clearly we had to crop in quite a bit, but I think the vertical crop works on this one. And again, let's just check the fine details. I think we did okay overall, considering how far out this crop is. Okay, one other creative choice you can make is make the water almost completely black, where it does look like a cut and paste job. Some people do that intentionally, and I think that actually looks pretty nice sometimes. I decided not to go that route, but really, really cool shot. Springtime is a great time for birding because there's a lot of action, like creatures, the birds are pairing up, looking for nests and things, and then there's a lot of territory fights, like I think what that was. Okay, so this looks like Oreo or something, but anyway, uh, let's apply basic preset, and we'll crop in, do a square crop. Something like that. Okay. Then let's go ahead and select the bird. And we'll just gonna add a full stop to the bird because it's a little bit of a darker bird. And then we're gonna pull off just gradually here. Back to this bird. Okay, good. And then add a little warmth. Maybe. We'll do that later. Just a touch of micro and a touch of clear view. Spotted towhee. Thank you, Larry. Okay. Let's go in here. And then do the beak. So it's always eyes, beaks, talons whenever I do birds. Might be able to use a masking brush on this. Okay. And then I'm going to, let's do a control line. to about there. And I'm going to add some warmth here. A little bit too much. Push the highlights. Okay. And then that's not what I wanted. I wanted this, just a little bit of a vignette. I'm having a little trouble with my control points today. I just did an update to 6.3.1. This might be a little bit of a glitch in the, because it wasn't doing this before. If I do this, okay, let me invert it. There we go. Okay, let me export that. Oh, I didn't look at the fine detail. Hold on. Go back here. Just add a little bit there. A little bit there. The bird needs a little bit of more warmth overall. This one. Okay, now I'm ready. Okay, so here's the original on the right. So it basically just needed a crop and a little bit of vignette, right? And again, I always like to look at the pixel peep a little bit just to see what DxO can do. And I think that came out pretty amazing. All right, very good. Thank you for that one. And let's go to the next one. And this one's from Angelo. So this is definitely a bit overexposed. So we're going to have to pull in the exposure quite a bit. So that's the first kind of global change I need to make. Something like that. And I think the sky is completely clipped. Yeah, so I'm not going to be able to do anything with the sky. This particular image would probably work well with one of the LUTs. So I'm going to bring the exposure down to about this. And I'm basing this off the grass. Grass is more or less a neutral gray. So if you're trying to figure out an exposure and there's grass, point at the grass and spot meter the grass for your exposure, and that's generally neutral gray. So if you look over at the histogram, you'll notice that the green is right in the center here, more or less, right? You know, the bulk of the green, right in here. Now, this little bump here is this dark green of these trees, but I think most of the grass is right in there. Just a quick tip. Anyway, so that's where the exposure should be. And since the sky is completely clipped, let me just take a quick look at a LUT. And these are included with DxO Photolab. So I'm not showing you something that you wouldn't have. But I feel like we need to kind of really make this very different than maybe this. I like this one. Okay, we're going to do black and white. And then I'm going to crop a little bit off the bottom, a little off the top. Let's try just a little wider. Let's try 3x2. Okay, and then I'm going to select this shed. Let's use the rectangle tool. And just see if I can bring that out a bit more. Okay. Some clear view. Maybe let's try just a control line. Just want to temper that side a little bit. Okay. And I wonder if I can get the door. Yeah. Just want to make the door a little brighter. All right. Let's do that. Okay, so I just kind of made it black and white. I think what I would do from here is maybe take it in the Nick collection and use the silver effects to just make it look even more vintage. Like add whatchamacallit, glass stains and things like that to the print. Like it was a glass filmed print. I think that would look good in Nick collection. But just using DxO by itself, you know, I think that the black and white works for this one. Okay, let's go to the next one. Have a little baby seal, looks like, from Anthony. Not much to do here. It's already framed and exposed and everything looks good. We just have to temper the highlights a bit. So let me just select the seal. and select these highlighted areas right in here. See if we can bring out the eyes a little bit, just the speculars, because I think they have black eyes. So I just want to kind of he is kind of looking up though. That's interesting. Need more. Maybe that. And then I don't want to warm this up too much, but let's just see where we're at. Yeah, perfect. Okay. Maybe some, let's see what Clearview does. A little bit there. Maybe a little spread. Like that. No warmth. Okay. Maybe check the fine detail real quick. We'll call it there. All right, so really all I did was warm it up and bring out the eyes a little bit, right? Since I didn't do any cropping or anything, compositionally it's already perfect. And I just wanted to bring out the fine details too, which I think it did pretty well. Because it's a little bit soft here, right? But DxO is really good at pulling out all the fine details from a raw image. So very nice, very cool shot there. That's the edit. That looks really good. Okay. All right. Let's apply a basic preset and just crop in. I'd like to leave a little bit of that tree, and I like that. So we'll do that. And let's go ahead and we'll select the bird. Let's see if we can get, let's just use the rectangle tool. Okay. We'll add just about a stop here and pull down about a stop. Push the shadows a bit. A little bit of micro contrast and clear view. And some warmth. No, let's do it globally. Let's add a little warmth to the entire image. Okay. And then let's go to the eye. Bring that out. Maybe just a tiny bit of warmth there. Check the beak. The beak, I can use this masking brush. Did I get... Yeah, I got it. Just add a little bit more color there. And the talons are kind of hidden, so I don't think I need to do anything there. Let's just check the fine details. Whoops, wrong slider. Okay. And one last thing I like to do is, let's do a control line. Up there. Just add a little light down here. Do the same thing to this other corner. But let's make it a little cooler. And a little bit darker. Oops, oops. This is the one I want. Okay. Give that a couple seconds to export, and let's compare. All right, so I really like this crop, to include, the blurry tree there, as opposed to, say, brushing it out. And yeah, I think this came out pretty good. So we can kind of zoom in and just look at it this way. But yeah, DxO did a great job, again, pulling out the noise, bringing out the details. It's a little bit too crispy. I might back off the unsharp mask a little bit if I were to continue working on this, but that's a great shot of this hawk. It's a really good shot. If I came back home with one of these, I'd be so happy. Okay, let's see. We have one here from Jeff. Lovely field of daffodils, I think. Off a hill. Interesting. A little bit of lens flare right here, I think. Yeah, a little bit. That's the 12 to 45, yep. I think you might have a filter on here too. Okay, let's apply a basic preset. And I definitely we're going to go wide on this. Something like that. Just eyeball this composition, just maybe a little bit down. Okay, I gotta fix this purple blob here. I wonder if I can do it with a control point. Just shift it green. Oh, yeah, there we go. Virtually gone. It needs just a little bit of contrast though. And maybe just a little bit darker. Okay. All right. Let me do control line. And we'll select the yellows. No lens hood, huh? Okay. Got it, Jeff. And I'm going to bring out the reds in this house a little bit. It needs a little bit of a tilt, it looks like. Let's see if I can select this house. And I just want a little bit of a push in the reds. Okay, and then the sky. Let's use it with a control line. A little bit tighter luma. Make this corner a bit warmer. Okay. Then I'm going to just kind of spot check a couple other places here. All right, I have to call it there. So I'll export that. All right, so yeah, not my best at it, but I feel like definitely we have to go wide. There's just too much here, too many daffodils. And the main thing was getting rid of this purple spot. I mean, that was the first thing I saw when I opened the image. Then bring out the textures in this house, and maybe just warming the sky up here in this one corner, just to motivate the light that's coming onto the house and into the different areas. Okay, last one. Oh, two more. No, one more. All right. Trust me, I would love to stay here all day and edit your photos, but I really do have to get going. All right, so let's apply basic preset. And you guys let me know if you like me working on this faster. Or if you prefer, like my normal streams, I slow down and walk you through all of the different things I'm doing. But I like this reflection of this bush. You just have to match, just give it a little symmetry maybe. And let's tilt it slightly. Okay. And I don't know if AI is going to get the water because, yeah, it's going to struggle a bit with this. So let's use a control line. A little tighter on the chroma. Maybe do the same thing on the top. Hmm. Let me try. Not that much, but it's something like this. Gosh, we definitely need a little bit of a tilt. Still some more. And let's just throw in a bit of a vignette. Then I'm going to select the duck and just temper the highlights a bit. Maybe brighten them up. I don't think there's enough pixels on the eye, but oops, let me just bring in a little bit. Okay. Let's check the fine detail. You know, ducks, when they're wet, the details don't really come out quite as much. Okay. Okay, and then overall the warmth. It's a little bit too warm. Okay, let's export that. Let's Paul says it does not work for me outputting DNG files. Compressed ones are not supported by Windows and it does not output all the edits. Okay, I haven't tried. I just downloaded this new version today. So I'll have to look into that, Paul. Okay. I did use the compressed version for when I was doing Pure Raw. The new version of Pure Raw has the compressed DNG, and I didn't have any problems with it. But I haven't tried it in DxO, so I'll try that. And we'll do a quick comparison. So yeah, just a crop and contrast, basically. I really like the reflection of this bush into the water. The water is amazing. The way it's just the pattern in the water, I love it. And then the duck is a really nice accent to everything else. Because I think this picture would have worked with or without the duck, to be honest. Because I love the water and that little sticker bush there. But let's go ahead and do a quick check on the fine details. And yeah, good contrast there. It looks really good. He even brought out some of the feather detail here in this mallard. So that's awesome. Okay, Paul, I'll look for your email. But this is Paul Mashak's photo. Very nice photo, Paul. I think you could go back and take a picture of this bush even without a duck in there, and you could get a really amazing photo. So I'm thinking even like a black and white would look good with that bush, right? You would just have to add a ton of contrast, if you wanted, right? So, anyway, you get the idea. This image, the water in that bush really make it, You could easily do something with that. But okay. So sorry I have to go. I had to rush through all of those edits. But thank you so much for sending them in. And I'll be back next week for another one. And I'm going to look for Paul's email about some of the issues. And the Great Vanzini, thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate the super chat. And happy spring to you as well. So you guys have a great weekend. And I'll be back on Sunday for a normal photo chat. And maybe Monday I'll do another members only photo chat. I have to work out a few things, check my calendar, etc. But I'm going to try to start doing member only live streams as well. So you guys have a great one.